What do workplace bullying and pretty privilege have in common? Well, actually, a lot. Pretty privilege is the belief that people who are considered pretty, beautiful, or attractive in the workplace have certain privileges. They can get the job, they can get the promotion, they can keep the job, they can even become the boss one day. These are all the beliefs that come along with pretty privilege, and it is true in some cases, but can pretty privilege make you attract a workplace bully? And actually, the answer is yes. Based on psychology today, you can. And let me tell you 4 reasons why. Number one, jealousy. Someone in the workplace who is jealous can be envious of the way that you look, the way that you dress, the way that you carry yourself, the charisma that you have, the talent that you have, everything that makes you you, that light that you carry can make someone jealous. Number two, automatic distrust. Sometimes people who are jealous will automatically distrust someone that they consider pretty or attractive. It's almost as if they believe that people who look a certain way cannot have problems. So you find that in the workplace, when you need to take off for a certain issue, if you're sick or if you have some sort of family emergency, people automatically think that you're lying or making things up. Sometimes it has to do with appearance. Number three, threat or competition. You may be viewed as a threat in the workplace. You may be viewed as competition, meaning the person who is jealous may think that you might take their job, you might take their rank or favor, you might take their love interest on the job. It could be anything. Sometimes you may not be vying for anything that that person has, but that person perceives you as a threat based on your look, based on your clothing, based on the way you carry yourself. And last, leveling. And leveling is when people who feel insecure, people who are bullies, they want to level the playing field. They want to take you down a notch. So they may say things, they may take little digs at you. They may try to say things behind your back. They may do things to ruin your reputation in the workplace to level the playing field because they want to knock you down from here to here where they are. So what can you do about this? Absolutely nothing. This is a them problem, not a you problem. Continue to shine. Continue to be the best version of who you are. Take care and be well. Bye.
The prettiest girls out there have no friends, and I'm going to tell you why. So, when you are a pretty girl, you suffer from pretty privilege, okay? It means that people treat you different because you're pretty. But it always backfires on girls because a lot of the times, guys just want to sleep with them and girls just want to be friends with them because they want to be part of their aura. It's basically the curse of the good looks. If you have good looks, people are automatically going to assume something about you even if they don't know you. Rumors are going to be started about you. They're going to say, oh, she slept with a guy, she did this with us, she did this. It's pretty bad. And I say this from experience because I have friends that are girls that are incredibly gorgeous, incredibly beautiful, and they're just lonely. They're lonely because they just get garbage from other people. Because essentially what happens when you have pretty privilege is that people just want something from you. They're always looking to get something out of you. They either want to be part of your crew, they want to know you, they want to be friends with you, or they want to sleep with you. And when you try to protect your energy from these energy vampires, that's when they start backing up. That's when they start turning their tables on you, because they're gonna think, oh yeah, you think you are all that because you're good looking, you get all of this, they start having all these assumptions about you, and essentially it becomes very toxic. That's why a lot of people that are good looking, they essentially end up with not a lot of friends.
In the grass, just to wake me up from the pain in the past. Hennessy, plenty weak. Do you have anything stronger? I don't care, give it here when I make this high last long.
No, don't do this to me.
I know, I'm sorry.
Why?
Because you gave me just the right amount of attention at the wrong time.
If you're in the legal profession or, just any profession where it really requires you to use your brain or use intellect, and that's like the basis of your job. So like you're not really using your hands, no physical labor or anything whatsoever. I feel like people don't talk about the downside to being in those jobs or trying to get those jobs and being pretty. So I'm a licensed attorney, and I just remember when I was originally starting to apply, I was in law school and I was starting to apply for big law jobs and federal clerkships and all of these things. I explicitly remember one of my mentors telling me, you know, I would change your hair and don't put on so much makeup. She didn't say so much, but like, I would change your hair and don't put on makeup, because you don't want them to think you're here to walk down a runway and not use your brain. You don't want them to think that you're not going to sit up and do all the research that you need to do. You don't want them to think that, you know, you're not going to be able to write a 30,000 page paper, 30,000 page brief. So tone it down, right? And maybe not in so many words, like definitely not like that. She's a great mentor, but she had a point, right? And especially once I started doing these interviews, especially with like my federal clerkships and stuff like that, there is a downside to being pretty in the legal profession and just in those corporate jobs generally, right? Because they think there's just no way you can be pretty and have brains. Oh, you cannot be smart. You cannot be smart and pretty. You can't be both. And so you must be one or the other, right? And so I feel like it's harder for you as, and let me get this out the way. Pretty privilege is a real thing. It is a benefit, and I am not saying I would rather not be pretty. And I'm not even saying like, oh, woe is me, whatever. That's not what I'm saying whatsoever. So don't get all in my comments upset about that. But I am saying that is the reality that you have to face when you're in the corporate world, and that's just yet another hurdle, especially if you're a Black woman, that you have to jump over in the corporate world, is because not only do you have to prove your worth, not only do you have to be twice as good, but now you got to actually prove you can do the work because of what you look like, right? And like I said, I've gone through, like, I literally have so many examples of this, and it's kind of just crazy because sometimes, and I've had this experience, I remember one time I was kind of going into an interview, or like even when you're just working, people will kind of look at you a little different, you know? They'll they'll give you a look. And then when they find out like, oh, like she's actually smart, or like, oh, like she can actually do the work, or like for me, they'll be like, oh wow, she was this at Georgetown Law, or oh wow, she was this. It's like they're surprised. Okay? Like it's like they're surprised. Anyway, I just had to say that, okay?
So when a pretty faced woman speaks up about somebody harassing her or giving her bad treatment, people will usually not listen to her because they think that her life is so easy. So they bring even more trauma into her life. When you are someone who's pretty, you will always be a threat to certain people. You will constantly be held to high standards because people are always going to try to look for your flaws. People are going to expect perfection from you, but they will be okay with mediocrity from others. Even pretty faces are flawed. Nobody is perfect in this world. And the people that comment things like, oh, you need to stop thinking that everybody hates you for your looks, that's just not how the world works. Well, maybe that's not how the world works for you, but for a pretty faced woman, that's how it works. If you can't relate, you can't relate. Pretty women get isolated just for being attractive. Jealous, envious, toxic, insecure people love to see you get stressed and react. So instead of getting all defensive and trying to convince people that it's not fair that they are treating you this way, which you're right on that, it's not fair. But when you have a pretty face, people don't give a fuck when you have a pretty face. So what you have to do is get your pants on right all the way and don't give them your energy. Don't acknowledge them. When you don't give these people your energy and they see that they're not getting from you what they want, they will fall back. Stay tuned for part 2. I will be talking about how to neutralize perpetrators. Today, I am teaching you ways that you can neutralize a perpetrator to protect yourself. The one thing that I will always tell you if you are unsure of the scenario that you are in and you're not really sure how to handle the situation because you don't understand the circumstances that you're in, the best thing you can do is to not acknowledge them. You have every right to do so. Remember that. Let them say and think what they want. When they see that you are unbothered by their behavior towards you, this will drive them crazy because they will see that you are maintaining your power and you are not allowing them to assert power over you. Once you start learning about the tactics that manipulators, perpetrators, jealous, envious, insecure, toxic people use, you will start understanding the types of behaviors towards you, and you will be able to act accordingly. If you are in an environment where you can't just walk away and not acknowledge them, there's a few things that you can do. One of the ways that you can deal with them is assertively. So for example, if they're throwing taunting remarks at you, you can say something like, is this supposed to mean something to me? Because I really don't care. Or you can say something like, I just don't understand. That's a very strange thing for you to say, don't you think? You can also say something like, why are you talking to me? I don't want to talk to you. Another way you can neutralize a perpetrator is by taking their microaggressive comments as compliments. So let's say, for example, the perpetrator says something like, ew, you don't even know how to do your makeup. You're gonna take that as a compliment and you're gonna say something like, thank you, I took 2 hours on my makeup and I just feel amazing. When you take their microaggressive comments as compliments, it makes them look like clowns. What you can do is act curious. Ask questions when they ask you questions, and keep asking questions. Say something like, I don't get it, I'm still lost, can you explain it to me in detail, please? This will exhaust them and they will just give up. You have to learn to play it smart and learn how to set traps to defend yourself.
I want to